Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our March edition of Maximizing Your Membership webinar series. Today, we'll discuss the impending U.S. tariffs and share an update on that, and also provide the ways you can save with exclusive CFIB discounts for your business. My name is Stephanie Lewis, and I'm the Vice President of Partnerships at CFIB. And on this first day of spring, I'm pleased to be with you and hope that you are as optimistic as I am with what's in store with this new season. I'm connecting today from my home office here in Toronto, and I would love to know where everyone is joining us from today across the country. So don't hesitate, feel free to use our chat function and enter the name of the city that you're connecting from today. Let's see what we have coming. Oh, I have Princeton, Ontario, Edmonton, Kitchener, Aylmer, Brampton, Dermot, Mississauga, Calgary. Wow, folks are from everywhere. You were already. Concord, Corner Brook, Winnipeg, Oakville, New Brunswick, Whitehouse, Toronto as well, Newfoundland, Ottawa, Vancouver. Welcome, welcome everyone. So before we get started, I want to take a moment just to share some housekeeping rules. As you see, you've all found the chat box. Thank you. I see Nanaimo is here, Richmond, BC, Guelph, Ontario, Calgary. So many of you are from the country are with us. So keep using the chat box for any conversation pieces. However, we want to ensure that we're able to capture your questions. So if you have any questions, please use the Q&A function that is located at the bottom of your screen. And we ask this because, again, the chat can get quite busy and we do not want to miss your questions. So please include any questions that you may have under the Q&A and we'll do our best to answer those. Now, of course, if unfortunately we're not able to get to your questions, we'll make sure that someone from our business resources team contacts you at the end. And lastly, I want to also share with you that we have included a link to the copy of the presentation that we'll go through with you today. And that way you can access it for your references. All right, so let's get started. So now on the next slide, I'm pleased to present today's presenters. So once again, you've got here myself, Stephanie Lewis, and today I'm joined with my colleague, Paul Leo. Paul Leo is a Senior Manager of Strategic Partnerships. Say hello to everyone, Paul.
Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome.
Great, thank you. Paul's connecting from beautiful Niagara Falls, and after spending 18 years as a general manager in our field, leading a team of district managers, and those are the sales representatives who meet with you regularly to share our victories, Paul joined our partnerships team about 1.5 years ago. We're so pleased to have him. He's been instrumental in helping us launch over 50 new discount programs to help you save money. So he'll be speaking to you later on. Thank you so much for co-hosting with me today, Paul. I'm also very pleased to be joined by my legislative colleagues, the experts who will know all the ins and outs as it pertains to the tariffs. So first, I'll introduce Ryan Milo, our Vice President, Legislative Affairs and Communications here at CFIB.
Good afternoon. Looking forward to getting into it.
Nice to see you, Ryan. Ryan works with our legislative colleagues across the country on various issues that impact your business. So he'll again speak to the details in that regard. And again, thank you so much for co-hosting with me today, Ryan. Next, I am also joined with Michelle Auger. She is our Senior Policy Analyst in National Affairs. Do you want to say hello to everyone here, Michelle?
Sure, thanks. Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. Look forward to jumping into a good tariff conversation in a few minutes.
Great. Thank you, Michelle. Michelle manages our federal issues. So she's from our Ottawa office, and she works as well on the U.S. trade issues. So more to come from her. So thanks again for joining me today, Michelle. All right, now that you've met everyone, we can go to the next slide with our agenda that will list all of the topics that we would like to cover with you today. And I can't be remiss to name some other cities that I'm seeing here: Kingston, Ontario, St. Albert, Norwich, Tamworth, Ontario. I don't think I've ever heard of that city. So great. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. So our agenda for today is that we'll share an update, as mentioned, on this hot topic of US tariffs. Then we're going to dive into the ways that we manage to have programs that save you money with your memberships. And also we're going to follow with an overview of what those savings and discounts programs are and how you can benefit from our trusted partner offers. Lastly, we'll have some exciting new discount programs as well that we can share with you that Paul will speak to that are available to you and to your employees. And of course, we've left some time at the end of the session for Q&A. So in the event that there are questions that you have, we'll get to those. Now, I'm going to pass it to Ryan, who will start us off with an update on the Canadian landscape pertaining to our tariffs.
Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone. We are going to jump into a bit of a tariff update. There are a lot of moving parts there that Michelle's going to touch on, but wanted to just give a brief rundown of the Canadian landscape first, because as this has been going on, there's been a tremendous amount of uncertainty in the Canadian political landscape, and we've been a little bit without a leader for a while. That does appear to be wrapping up now. So as many of you likely know, Prime Minister Trudeau announced his resignation in January. As of last week, that became formal. Mark Carney won the Liberal leadership, and he was sworn in as Prime Minister last Friday and has been acting as Prime Minister up to this point. Now, technically, government is supposed to come back on March 24th. That's next Monday, from the prorogation that paused government and allowed Prime Minister Trudeau to resign. Structurally, procedurally, that means that we would expect a throne speech on Monday, a vote on that throne speech, a new speaker, just sort of all the things that it takes to get Parliament up and running before the action actually happens. However, based on the conversations that we've been having with politicians up to this point, as well as now what we're starting to see come out in the news, it is incredibly unlikely that we actually get to Monday. There is going to be an election call. It sounds like it is going to come on Sunday, which will put us into a campaign. Now, in Canada, the minimum amount of time for a campaign is 36 days. The maximum is 50. We are anticipating that this campaign will run that minimum, 36 days, which would take us to April 28th, Monday, April 28th, the expectation for a vote. It a little bit depends on sort of when Prime Minister Carney gets to the Governor General on Sunday, how they count Sunday. There is a possibility that the election isn't technically until May 5th, but the most likely date is April 28th. So it will be a quick campaign, but there will be a campaign and then a government will be selected. That is good news from a certainty standpoint. We'll at least know, who the new prime minister is, what the mandate looks like, if we're in a majority or minority setting. Based on the polls, it looks like everything is sort of up in the air right now. However, it also means that there is going to be a delay before we can do anything. While government is running during a campaign, it is in caretaker mode. That means there's no new legislation. It means we can't, introduce support programs or make too many changes on the government side. So while there will be certainty, what we can be certain of is that there is going to be a wait before any meaningful action can be taken. And while the election is likely to wrap up in that last week of April, it is still going to take time, regardless of who wins, to set up a cabinet, to get the House back up in order. There's likely going to be a number of new MPs. That means they're going to have to go through training, procedural. That also takes some time. So realistically, we're probably looking at the government to return to sitting sometime in mid to late May. We also have not had a 2025 budget yet. That's going to be very much a priority for the new government as well, likely end of May, beginning of June, sometime in there. So while we are approaching some stability, much needed stability, there are still a number of days to go before we have government set and a proper direction in place, which is a challenge because, as I will now turn it over to Michelle, the tariff stuff isn't waiting. Things are happening and will be happening during the election period. Over to you, Michelle.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan, for setting the stage. We thought it was really important to kind of set this political landscape of how it's shaping up in Ottawa because, when you consider the fact that we sort of feel like we don't have a government, then you throw into the mix what's happening across the border with Trump. And, it just seems like, every day something new is happening with the tariffs, right? And it's certainly not boring in Ottawa, let me tell you. For those who think Ottawa is boring, it's been quite exciting and quite busy. But as we move on to the next slide, I'll provide a brief overview with what's happening on the US tariffs currently and the Canadian situation. So we've created this table with some of the key dates and some of the things that have happened. And as the situation has continued to change rapidly, we've been doing our best to sort of track the different moving pieces. We go back about 2 weeks ago when Trump imposed a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods, and then he kind of quickly adjusted his approach to sort of ease the impact on the auto sector, and then later exempted CUSMA compliant goods. And that's sort of where we stand today for Canadian products that are, made in Canada and that meet this CUSMA compliant good and can get the certificate of origins and the proper paperwork. They can now cross the border without being impacted by the 25% tariff. So that's kind of where we landed. But in addition to this, last week, what we did see is that there was a 25% tariff that was imposed on all steel and aluminum, across the world. So that was announced by Trump. That also includes Canada. So that's essentially what, where we're at. We're seeing here that was on March 12th. That was just last week. And as Canada has responded, they've decided to essentially maintain our 25% counter tariffs on the 30 billion US goods. However, they decided to also delay the second phase of retaliatory tariff. So that was on 125 billion products until April 2nd. There is currently a consultation that's open to the public where you can potentially comment on whether or not you think certain goods or products should be added to that list. So encourage you we can circulate the link here later in the chat of where to kind of participate in that consultation. But in addition to where Canada stands, when those steel tariffs were added, there was another added layer of countermeasures on 29.8 billion US goods that were effective as of March 13th. So we kind of sit in this table at the March 13th date. And now we're just all kind of waiting to see what's going to happen on April 2nd. What we're waiting is essentially waiting for Trump to come out and decide what he's going to do in terms of world tariffs, who that includes. There's rumors that will include more Europe products, that would include Canada kind of counter tariffs to the tariffs we've imposed. But it's really all up in the air. And even when we're on, government stakeholder calls, just nobody really has a sense of what it is that's going to happen. It just seems like every day there's a new, there's sort of new direction, and Trump has kind of, maybe changes his mind on certain things and points fingers at why these tariffs currently exist on Canada. So that's kind of the key dates. Happy to answer any questions as we move forward on the presentation about the tariffs. If we move on to the next slide, I'm going to just provide a bit of an overview on some of the work we've been doing and how we can help support your business with the tariffs. I will say that, our advocacy has really been focused on making sure that political leaders are really focused, on what they can do here in Canada. When you can't control what Trump's going to do from day to day, there's an opportunity here for Canada to look at making a more competitive business environment. So the message with the government for the last little bit from our perspective and based on member survey is to really focus on reducing the cost of doing business, reduce the red tape, and remove those internal trade barriers. We're starting to see some momentum on internal trade barriers. We're seeing certain provinces come forward and announce that they are going to adopt some mutual recognition. We're certainly championing some of those movements right now, and we're jumping on board and making sure that those internal trade barriers are removed as quickly as possible to open more opportunities for businesses across the country. In addition to sort of the advocacy work, our message to the government really remains clear that while there are programs that are currently available and there are some grants available, for example, like Farm Credit Canada has increased some of the financing and grant programs that they have, and EDC has also created some more grant programs. Small businesses, while these measures are appreciated, it really is relief that SMEs are asking for. It's not more debt. So that really remains the core of some of our messaging with the federal government right now. And what we mean by that too is as the government is collecting this tariff money, we've been telling them to get that money back out the door to those who are impacted, get it back to businesses that are really being impacted by the tariffs. That's a bit of an overview on our advocacy, but I do see Stephanie there. I'm assuming there's a couple questions coming up.
There are, yes, indeed, Michelle. You're doing so great. You're on the roll here. But yes, there is a question that I believe Ryan would like to answer pertaining to the Canadian goods to USA, and if there are CUSMA compliant goods, that there's no tariffs as of today. And this is coming from Laura Lee Stern. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that with Michelle. Goods that are currently CUSMA compliant going from Canada to the US are not subject to tariffs today.
Yeah, as long as you've got the proper paperwork, they are, certified as a Canadian-made product, and they meet the definition of CUSMA compliant. In theory, you should have no issues to cross that border and not be hit with those 25% tariffs as you go.
And I'll add, there's a note here from Steven saying he's interested in knowing where the government is going to be spending the money raised by tariffs.
Yes.
Steven, us too.
Yeah, super great question. In fact, just last week, we were on a federal government finance briefing with a bunch of stakeholders. And that was one of the key points we raised during that call, was the fact that, you're collecting all this money. How much money has been collected? Like, that has not made publicly available to folks. So we're going to be pushing the government to make sure that they're sort of disclaiming how much money is being collected by these tariffs and what they're going to do with that money. Again, our position based on surveys and the comments that we're receiving from our members on this is we need to get the money back to small businesses, those that are impacted, as quickly as possible.
And I'll add on this front, before we turn it over to Stephanie, that we are keeping as up to date as we possibly can with the rapidly changing info on this. CFIB.ca/tariffs is your best resource for incoming questions and keeping up with the changes. And I will note as well that assuming the election call is indeed made on Sunday, Monday morning, you will see CFIB.ca/election. It'll be there on the homepage as well, but we will be following the government's promises on this issue as well as other small business issues in real time. So there will be a promise tracker there and something to follow along with as the governments continue to make commitments around tariff response, in addition to how they are going to administer the economy over the next 4 years.
Yeah, and definitely a great wrap up. I mean, just this slide here has sort of the key elements that we've been sort of tackling, the actions that we've been keeping on top. But, survey and research has been a big part of this process in collecting data. And we currently have a survey out for members to answer. We've collected close to 3,000 responses. So if you haven't had a chance to respond, please check your emails. It should be available to you. I believe it closes tomorrow afternoon. But we'll continue those surveys as the tariff situation continues to evolve. So just stay on the lookout. Obviously, that data is really what helps us put forward recommendations to the government. That really is the sort of the meat of what we present to government. It's not, that's your voice. And so if you want to have a say on the direction CFIB takes, please do go answer those surveys. It's so incredibly helpful when we go into government consultations and government stakeholder meetings with 3,000 response. It's just wonderful. And just to loop back up here, so a couple other tools that might be of interest. We've got the support local poster available for download. And then our business advisors are always available to help answer your questions. And the webpage really is the key piece of the tariffs, where we've got a slew of information, a good section on FAQs with lots of questions and answers constantly being added to in that section. So I think that's a good overview right now on tariffs, but as we get to the end of the Q&A, if anything else pops up, more than happy to answer any specific questions you guys might have.
Back to you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Michelle and Ryan. And yes, I saw some of the questions being answered. Thank you, Alicia, who's in the background helping us with those questions. I know it's an update, disheartening, not so much clarity, but the team has certainly done a very good job in keeping up with the back and forth info that we are getting. So we'll make sure to keep you updated. So now that you've heard this update, you must be wondering, how can I save money with my membership? Well, I'm here to answer that question for you. First, you've joined a great organization. As a member of CFIB, you've joined 100,000 members. And what we've done is we've leveraged the power of this number to negotiate discounts and provide preferred rates on products and services that you use every day. When it comes to your banking, payroll, shipping, and then this is just to name a few, we've done this with selected partners. As a member of CFIB, you can be sure that we have given you peace of mind. We've kept your needs top of mind while we negotiated these discounts. And we wanted to ensure that through these offerings, you are keeping 100% of the discounts and the money in your pocket and in your business. With your membership, you can save up to $5,000 or more each year. And on the next slide, I'm going to share with you some of these trusted partners with whom we've negotiated these discount offers. Some of these brands may be of relevance to you. You might be familiar with them. So maybe that you're looking for banking, you're looking for cell phone plans, security, credit card processing, insurance, which is not a very hot topic, but on the commercial and the group benefits side, even educational courses virtually, we have it. So I'm going to go into details on what each of these programs can offer you in the next few slides. But before I do so, I do want to bring your attention to another section of our website, which is CFIB.ca/discounts. And here you're able to get all of the suite of offerings that we have for which you'll be able to get a discount. So on the next slide, I'm going to speak about our partnership with Scotiabank. This is our trusted, our longest standing partner, a trusted Canadian financial institution that allows your business to save on banking products and services. I've listed here a few of the ways that the membership can help you save. So for example, we have monthly fees that are waived on what is called a right size account for your business. There's some basic business accounts as well on which we've waived the monthly fees. As a member, you get 20% off on the standard monthly fees for specific accounts that are catered to small business and commercial. We've also reduced setup fees when it comes to term loans or line of credits. And again, we have different offerings through the basic all the way to the ultimate banking packages. On the next slide, I'm sharing with you our partnership with Chase. Now, we know that this is a partnership that you must be wondering, how did CFIB come to partner with this company? Well, I want to give you a bit of history. Scotiabank had an in-house payment processing solution, which was called Payment Tech, in-house here in Canada. Chase purchased that solution and became what you may recall Chase Payment Tech. It has since evolved to Chase Payment Solutions, but they still remain a premier Canadian payment processor. They're dedicated to helping you and small businesses in reducing processing fees, and they do so in the Canadian environment. They operate here, they have offices here, and all of our contacts are also located here in Toronto. So it's really to help you in accepting Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Interact transactions at a lower fee. So seamless may be that you have your business in store, if you're on the go, if you're online, or even over the phone. They've included a suite of offerings such as no sign-up fees, no cancellation fees. You can have savings on terminal rentals. You can have savings on the monthly administration fees of up to 70% off. And if you are banking with Scotiabank and doing your payment processing with Chase, you get the money into your bank account one day sooner. And one thing we are very proud of is that through our work with the Code of Conduct for the credit card and debit card industry, Chase truly supports that and is very transparent. On the next slide, I want to speak about our telecommunication partnership with TELUS Business. This is where you're able to see savings on your cell phone plans for your business and for any employee you wish to add. I've listed here a few examples of the packages that are offered. So you can see we've got 60 gigabytes for just $45 a month. We've also included 100 gigabytes of unlimited data, talk, and that's only $50 a month. We also have negotiated with TELUS that you will save up to $150 on their Business Connect. So this is for their voice over IP telecommunication services. They also offer internet. So with TELUS, we have this internet service that is offered at a savings of 25% or more. It is currently only in BC and Alberta, and soon will be entering the Ontario market and Eastern Canada. They also offer security. So for having monitoring system cameras on your business to really protect your investment, you can receive a $100 bill credit. So again, many ways that you can save with our partnership with TELUS. And they've even gone and expanded to what they call the Raven solution, which is a fleet management. So if you have many vehicles in your place of business, this is a great way for you to save. I'm going to go next to the next slide with ShipTime. I'm seeing a few more questions coming through, so I'll take a pause as well to ask my fellow colleagues to come back on. But before I do this, I want to speak to shipping. This is, of course, a time when many of you are asking, what will this mean if I am shipping from the United States? Well, we have a partnership with ShipTime. This is where you can look into what you can ship. We have inbound shipping, outbound shipping. You can earn Aeroplans with this program. So for every dollar that you spend, you'll earn 1 Aeroplan points. There's a promotion going on right now. So if it is your first time using ShipTime, you will receive $25 upon signing up. There's also additional savings for your first shipment of 20% off. And they do shipping, of course, across over 220 countries. So the US is involved there. And some of their partners are Canada Post, FedEx, Purolator, UPS, Canpar, and more. So I'm just going to take a quick moment to switch over to my fellow colleagues on the legislative side just to ensure we have enough time. There is a question that has come up here in the chat. I don't know if Michelle wants to take it. So this is from, let me see here. Okay, so this is from an anonymous attendee. I believe Alicia is typing an answer. They're asking for if they have a product in Taiwan, warehoused in Canada, and then sell to US distributors. Come April 2nd, will there be a retaliatory tariff to be applied from the USA? And if there's tariffs from Taiwan against the USA?
So
Very,
becomes,
I thought it would be good to address it.
Yeah, that becomes very complicated because it really depends to if there's a transformation to the good that's made. Percentage of that transformation could get caught, you know, in the tariffs, but then you've got the origin of the good is Taiwan. So if the origin of the good is Taiwan and Taiwan has tariffs, then there would be some tariffs. You know, when we're thinking of Canada's counter tariffs are specific to US made goods or goods that have had some kind of transformation. It also has to do with the origin of the goods. So I think in these kinds of situations where you've got a product coming from, for example, China, and then comes into Canada and you're doing some kind of transformation to it, then you're shipping it over to the US. I think the best way to make sure that you're applying the right tariffs is by working with a customs broker or making sure that you're reviewing that list from the federal government, whether or not those goods are being impacted. When it comes to the transformation portion, that becomes a very complicated calculation, and it really is best to consult directly with the customs broker to get the proper numbers.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Michelle. I thought it was appropriate since I was talking about shipment to cover that question. Again, we'll make sure to leave time at the end for more. Thank you. All right, so on the next slide, I'm going to jump into insurance. Again, not very much of a hot topic, but again, there are some opportunities for you to save here. We have 2 insurance partners, one for commercial insurance and the other for group benefits, health insurance. So Northbridge, I'll start with, provides you 10% discount on business insurance premium. Sure, you haven't heard of this in the past. So this is great where it allows for your business to actually save on the premium you'll be paying every year. There's also 50% premium discount on an optional cyber risk coverage with a limit of $50,000. There's some flexible payments for the larger businesses. So it does remove the interest rate. So it's 0% for CFIB members. On the commercial side, again, this is where you can protect your business, your property, the building, any equipment within, so computers, electronics, the furniture, inventory, you name it. It also includes commercial general liability insurance, business interruption insurance, and auto coverage for any non-owned vehicle. So again, this is protection for when your business may be sued for bodily injury or property damage caused by a rented or borrowed vehicle. On the side of Premature, this is an insurance program that is underwritten by Sun Life, which offers group benefit insurance. So for as little as $40 per month per employee, you can include prescription drugs, ambulance, emergency travel insurance. You can add some paramedical services like your chiropractor services, physiotherapy. There's eye exam included in there. Look at it as an a la carte offering where you can include vision care and all the way to a health spending account so that for those loyal employee of yours, they can use those for any of the services that are not covered. Dental insurance, of course, is included in there, and critical illness insurance, to name a few. So I'll look at the next slide here to speak to you about another program again that we have that is available to save you money. Payworks is our payroll provider. This is a cloud solution allowing you to save 40% off on many of their products. An example of those are the year-end solutions when it comes to including T4s, filing or archiving. There's also unlimited employees that you can add for direct deposit. So really moving on to an automated way to pay your employees. There's actually a promotion going on right now with Payworks as well, where it is offering you free payroll setup fees for any new clients that joins Payworks, and as well as a free 90-day trial for HR Enable, which are tools and resources that would help you if you're in the position of onboarding new employees. On the next slide, I'll speak to you about one of our partners that is very much so long-standing, and this is for online courses. ViewBiz offers over 60 free online courses, and this is in the area of health and safety, compliance, customer relations, the list goes on. These courses are here to help you to understand what are the requirements that you need to be compliant, maybe at the provincial or federal level, and of course, keeping your employees safe. We've also included certificate programs that are recognized by Athabasca University in Alberta, and again, to help you develop your employees. So lots to digest, but I'm going to now pass it on to my colleague, Paul, who will speak to you about even more discounts that we have available to you and to your employees.
Thank you, Stephanie. Hello, everyone. It's great to be with all of you. I want to speak to you today about what we're calling our affiliate savings programs, which is a full suite of offerings that began in January of 2024. The reason for this, just to give you a bit of backgrounder, is directly from the feedback of loyal members, just like all of you, who have told us that you wanted to see an increase in the number of offerings that we had, you wanted more choice, and you wanted to see a greater value to your membership. And we're hoping that through these new programs, we will have achieved all three of those. So not only were we looking to help you grow your business and support your bottom line as a CFIB member business, the other part of this was to really create an environment where we could aid you with employee retention and employee recruitment in making most of these offers available not only to you, your friends and family, but your employees and their friends and family as well. There are some that are exclusive only to the member, but the vast majority are available to all of those. So you can see that we now have discounts in travel, car rental, hotels, technology, transportation. There are business-specific ones like expense management, home services like junk removal, fuel savings, leisure and entertainment, being sporting events or amusement parks, a whole number of opportunities that are available both provincially and nationally. Some of them are located in specific provinces. So if you're traveling to those areas, great. But we do want to make sure that we're creating opportunities for all of our members right across the country. It has been really exciting to get feedback from members on how creative they're being with some of these products and services. We know that we've had members who have used the theme park discounts to do employee appreciation days and bought amusement park passes for all of their employees, which is fantastic. Some outside of the box thinking. We've had others who have told us that, they sponsor a local hockey team. And we all know how expensive it can be when you have children traveling for sports, and they're sharing the discount codes for either car rental or hotels with those local families, with their employees, to help them save some money in their private lives as well. Lastly, I just want to truly encourage you to always check in through the member portal into the discount section, as we're adding more every single month. And please encourage your employees to do so as well. We do have a poster that's available that you can post in your place of business. It's available on our website, and you can also get it through your local district manager, which will give your employees access. The more they use these programs, the more we can deepen the discounts on them, and the more partners we can attract. So we really hope that you're taking full advantage of them.
Great. Thank you so much for the update, Paul. And I was taking some time to answer some questions. It's really an exciting time for us to have so many programs that are available. Someone was asking, I think it was, yes, Jason was asking about hotels. So definitely we've got a suite of hotel chains that we've negotiated contracts and discounts with. I hear as well, there's some good comments from Andrea regarding Payworks being awesome. So this is just wonderful. We knew there would be a lot of chatter and a lot of questions coming in, so we wanted to leave enough time. So we're now at the Q&A. So I'll ask all my panelists to come back and that we can certainly go through our questions and answer them live. So I'll help us with navigating. I think the first question we have here is from Jason Hogsworth pertaining to the derivative article list. He's saying that we do have the list. There are over 200 items on this list. And Michelle, I believe you wanted to answer, perhaps provide a bit more color comment on that one.
Yeah, so the list is very long. I know that it's a lot of work to go through it to make and to see and find your product. And sometimes the titles are not quite clear. But what I would recommend and what others have recommended to me is that you go take a look at your HS codes that are being put onto your, when you're doing your importing, you have what's called a CAD that gets filed through your CARM portal. On that CAD, you should have it available. There is an HS code there. That would be the easiest way to take a look at what the tariff rates and if it's impacted on that list would be to look by a number.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Michelle. I think you're up as well for the next one. How do tariffs get applied? Who invoices us for the tariff? And this question came from Melissa Haig.
Right. So just going back to the basics of what a tariff is a tax and it's collected by the government. So on the Canadian side, the tariff is being collected directly at the border by CBSA. They collect all the duties, all the taxes on imported goods into the country. CBSA systems are already ready. They've been doing it with the steel aluminum tariffs that were implemented on the Chinese products back in the fall. So they were able to just implement that same system for these counter US measures. So far, we've been told by CBSA that things are up and running, everything's going good. We have not been hearing of too many concerns, but that's essentially how the tariffs get collected. They go straight onto, your CARM portal. You should be able to see it on there. I believe it is an extra added line, but it would show up as a duty and you could see it when you fill out your CADs as well. So likely for you folks that are using custom brokers, some of them may be doing some of this work for you, but the CARM portal, which I know a lot of you probably find it an extra step, all of the documentation and paperwork is all in there and easily accessible as you're doing the importation process.
Great. Great. Thank you so much, Michelle. I think there's a comment/question that did come through in the chat as it pertains to what you've just spoken of. This is from Bob. There's some talk of, there are some talk that orders originating from blue democratic states will not be applied. Is this true?
I mean, Ryan, maybe you're hearing more rumors than I am. I have not heard that yet. Wouldn't that be nice? But I mean, there's so many rumors from day to day.
Yeah, well, we have to wait for April 2nd for the final list. The short answer to that is no. It's not a state by state approach that Canada is taking in terms of what tariffs are applied to and what's not. However, a number of the items on that list that Michelle was referring to, as well as the 2 active tariff lists, are items that are in red states. So for example, Florida orange juice has been specifically targeted. And yes, there was some, let's call it partisan thinking behind that. Bourbon is made in Kentucky. that was by design. I believe Harley Davidson motorcycles have also traditionally been a target. Those are produced in red states. So there is some politicking going on, but it won't be as explicit as products from New York because it went blue will be exempt, and products from Florida won't because they're red.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, the government did put some thought in terms of what was going on the list, and they did target a lot of the products from Florida to kind of hurt, Trump's state. So that is a really good point to raise. Thanks, Brian.
Great, thank you again. Michelle, we've got another one for you here. This one is coming from, let me see here, Melanie. Don't the tariffs that Canada is charging to the US end up costing us money? Because a lot of businesses get products from the US either directly or indirectly.
Yeah, that's essentially what a tariff will do. It increases the cost downstream, right? So it increases costs often for consumers is what we're going to see. And we're starting to see that now, even within the new survey results that we are getting with the current survey that's out for businesses to answer. We are seeing that there has been already an adjustment of pricing to consumers. So I hope that answers her question. I don't know, Ryan, if you want to tap onto it, but yes, we are going to see an increase in price, essentially.
Yeah, inflation numbers are going to be a little bit tough to read for a couple of months because the most recent ones in February contained the GST holiday, which expired halfway through the month. Importantly, in April, the carbon tax is going away. And that will also have a downward impact on inflation. While tariffs will likely have an upward one. So we'll kind of have to wait and see a couple of months before that shakes out, assuming the tariffs even hold on that long, depending on what the president does or doesn't decide to do going forward. I think that connects to Dan Troyer had a comment about if we're fighting an economic war, what casualties can be expected, and are our leaders fighting this war as they would militarily? Can't answer the second one, but on the first side, that is a focus for us. We have seen in our data, the surveys that you guys are filling out, that there is pretty strong support for counter tariffs. I don't think a lot of people want to see Canada just take this one on the chin. However, we do know that it is the tariffs that Canada imposes on Canadian goods that will impact our importers. That is what will drive costs on this side of the border. And the longer it goes, the harder that hit is going to be. That is why we are so focused on ensuring that the money that gets collected through those tariffs is being returned to impacted businesses to help mitigate that pressure as much as possible. Again, we don't want to see business casualties as a result of this. The longer it goes, though, the higher the odds will be that there are some.
Yeah, and I should highlight too, just adding to that answer, the government has expanded some programs to help some businesses even retain their employees. So there is a program available, which is called the EI work sharing program. It has been expanded to allow for more businesses to tap into this. Just to give you a gist of the program, essentially you could reduce the hours of work of an employee, but keep them on, several hours a week, and then they would be topped off by some EI. So, if it does come to that point where layoffs and massive layoffs are to be considered in the near future, the government has already expanded the requirements for this EI work sharing program, knowing that this will, it likely will be an effect of what we will see in the coming months, but it's hard to know at this stage.
Right. Again, thank you so much. Very, very interesting topic for us to cover. So there is a question that I can certainly answer that's regarding our ViewBiz program. This is coming from Natalie Paradis, I hope I'm pronouncing it properly. Can we access ViewBiz from your site? Short answer, absolutely. If you visit CFIB.ca/ViewBiz, you'll see the landing page with the information. As well, if you log into your member portal, you'll have access to our ViewBiz site where you can access all of the courses. I'm also just going to pass it to Paul. I know there's a few questions that have come up, and then I'll come back to answer the question regarding ship time. So for Paul, the first question is from Michelle Joy. If we sponsor a team, we can share the discount code with the team so they can get discounts on items like hotels?
Absolutely. Yeah, we strongly encourage you to do so. We have negotiated these that they can be shared with friends and family. So if you are sponsoring a team, please share it with them and let them take advantage of those savings.
Great, thank you. We've of course thought of that in our negotiating. So thank you so much for your work on that, Paul. I'll have you answer the next one as well. This one is coming from Cher Allen. Is it possible to use the discounts through online booking, or do we have to call in?
No, absolutely. You can do that online. The easiest way, as Stephanie alluded to earlier, is to access the savings discount page through your member portal. Click the appropriate partner that you want to use, and it will redirect you to their website to complete the booking.
Excellent. Thank you again, Paul. And I do want to say a huge thanks to Judith, who's in the background answering some of the questions as well that are coming through. All right, we've got another one for you again, Paul. This one is coming from Jody. She's asking, where do we find the poster we can post for employees about these discounts?
Yeah. Again, it is in the member portal. In the discount section at the very top, you'll see a button that says create a poster. It will create a PDF that you can share with your employees. You can either email that out or post it in a break room or a common communication area.
Great, great. Thank you so much. All right, so I'm just going to go back up to one of our anonymous attendees asking a question regarding ship time. So the question is, was it said that ship time does inbound shipping as well? The answer is yes. So if you have anything that you wish to have shipped into your business, you certainly can use the ship time platform by indicating the country or the originating country and where it's to be delivered to your office location and to your business. The comment here was that you have an account that suppliers can charge when shipping items to us. So absolutely. So by using ShipTime, you would benefit from our discounted rates through the various partners that were listed, Canada Post, UPS, Purolator, Canpar, and so on. So certainly, please feel free to check cfib.ca/ShipTime for more information. And of course, by accessing your member portal, you'll have access to that. So in the interest of time, I want to make sure we get as many questions answered as possible. There was another question regarding how difficult it is to switch to Payworks from Ceridian, coming from Rianne Haynes. Very simple. We leave it to our experts at Payworks to work with you and your team. And please know you do not have to wait until January 1st to do the switch. They are certainly familiar with the other payroll providers out there and would be able to provide you with a step-by-step process to transfer your data into Payworks. So give them a call, see how it is, connect on our member portal, connect on our site, cfib.ca/Payworks. All right, Paul, we'll pass it back to you. I have another question here from Bethany. How do we share discount offerings to employees? And I think you did answer that when the question was posed about the sponsored team, but let's say making sure that's clear. How do employees of our members access these discounts?
Absolutely. The easiest way, as I mentioned, is to go into your member portal, log in, create the poster, which will produce all of the discount codes and all of the offerings that are available to your employees. You can save that PDF and either email it out to all of your employees so that they have it, or you can post it in a common area where they can get that information. There's also a QR code on the poster that they'll be able to access those offerings as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. All right, so I did see one comment that came into our chat to the hosts. Not sure if we have an answer for that, but we'll take that away. This is coming from Travis. Does CFIB have an import company that we recommend?
So maybe a good question for you, Stephanie, but currently we don't have a partnership with a customs broker or an import company, but that has come up a lot. And I think it's been flagged with Stephanie's team as something to maybe potentially look at in the near future. So for now, I think the answer is no.
Correct. And thank you, Michelle. I know we often are posed that question, but I just wanted to make sure in case you and the team were in talks. So yes, on the savings side, we don't yet have one, but we do on the ShipTime platform have a means for you to see what the fees would be if the item that you are shipping does have to go through a broker. So it's very transparent in listing fuel costs, brokerage fees, etc. So again, don't hesitate. It's very user-friendly platform to use. All right, so going back to the Q&A, I think there's a few questions for Michelle to answer coming from Karen Wright. Is there any other way to deal with tariffs? I love this question, other than pass them on to the consumer?
I mean, the short answer is yes, but I think the longer-winded answer has to do more with how your business is structured. So if you're, reliant on the US market and you can't source products from anywhere else and they're on that list of counter tariffs in Canada that are being affected, how do you avoid increasing prices? You have to somehow absorb that cost, right? So the business could absorb the cost, but that's a business decision that you're making. It's a business decision to pass on the cost. So, while you're looking at all the options right now, and I enjoy the sentiment of like, we don't want to pass on the cost to Canadian consumers. I think just looking at what the options are as a business and what your procurement strategies are is an important one right now. Just kind of assess, like, are we really completely reliant on the US, or are there other markets where we can source those goods? Canada does have, I think we're up to 16 or 15 free trade agreements with over 51 countries. So that information is on our website. You can take a look. We've got a great map that shows the different free trade agreements. That's an opportunity there to try to look, can we not be reliant on the US and source products from somewhere else so that we can save costs? Maybe that's an opportunity. But if you can't even tweak the market or change your market, there are opportunities of looking at your contracts that you have with those suppliers in the US. What does your contract say, and how can the cost change if you do have to absorb some of those tariff costs? So it's all about how your business is shaped, and really assessing how you can, how right now you can mitigate some of those impacts.
Great. Thank you so much, Michelle. The next one is for you, Ryan. This is coming from Kenny. Consumer carbon tax might be going away in April, but is the carbon tax on business still in effect and going up?
Yeah, so just wanted to clarify this one. The carbon tax that you see at the gas station on your heating bills, diesel, fuel, that sort of thing, that is what is going away effective April 1st. That order has been signed. That will come in, even though we'll be in an election, that is still going to come into fruition. What has gotten some media attention since then is what is called the industrial carbon tax. The industrial carbon tax is tricky. It's not a carbon tax that is on all businesses. It is on heavy industry. So it is a tax that exists on the businesses that you would traditionally associate with higher polluters, oil and gas in Alberta, car manufacturing, some of the larger pieces. We will have some members that are in that space, not a lot, but a few. The other challenge with the industrial carbon tax is it is not federal in its entirety. While it is federally required, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Ontario, Newfoundland, PEI, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick all operate it provincially. So it all operates a little bit differently from province to province as well. Of course, if you're in British Columbia, there is a provincial carbon tax there. That is still going to be in effect until Premier Eby removes it. He did pledge to during the campaign. And if you are joining us from Quebec, there is a cap and trade system in place there, which I believe is going to continue. I haven't heard from Premier Legault on that front. All to say that yes, the industrial carbon tax is still going to be in play. It is definitely going to be an election issue. We've seen the Conservative Party come out and say that they would scrap it. It has been an outstanding question for the other parties, although they are getting proactively asked, something that we will follow along on that side. So you may see some cost impacts bleed down from the industrial side. That is a potential reality. However, what you will notice come April 1st and the days that follow is that large reduction in the price of fuel, heating, natural gas, because the consumer tax is removed, and that will apply to businesses as well.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. Again, lots and lots of information. So great to have you on here to share the insight on that. All right. The next one is regarding our generated poster coming from Paul. Paul, if you may answer this one. It says here that it only shows the company and the QR code, but it doesn't show what the discount is. Any way to update this? And I know you have some information as to the logic behind us building that tool.
Yeah, absolutely. So when they click the QR code, it'll take them directly to our landing page from the poster that you're seeing there now. And that's where they'll find out what the discount is. However, we are in the process of launching a new poster that will give them a range of what the savings can be. The QR code will take them directly to the web landing page. They'll see all of the discount codes right away. So we were a little bit limited as we were launching this in the beginning, but that is in process. You can also contact your district manager. They do have the newest poster with the active QR code that'll take them to the discount page that shows the percentage savings.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Paul.
Mhm.
There's another question here. Not sure who's going to want to take that one. This is coming from Stephen. It's a question regarding if Canada's government is going to be introducing programs to help companies create their own production in new Canadian facilities.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question and quite timely given everything that's going on, what we're seeing across the border as well. The Canadian government does already offer some programs and some funds to help boost innovation, but also that industrial capacity. It's hard to know what's going to happen with the election, and given that, you know, we might have a whole new government, or we may remain with a Liberal government, who knows, but it'll be interesting to see what those political parties, what sort of position they decide to take on some of this as well, and how they'll reinvent the wheel on ensuring that Canada has a better capacity to produce and manufacture their own goods. But at this time, you know, while there are some funds and some grants that are available, I know the provinces also have some of their own funding available for that type of investments. It's really hard to know what the direction will look like in the next coming months, given all the uncertainty with our political situation.
Fair. Thank you again, Michelle. You've got so much information to share, you and Ryan, so it's very helpful. Thank you. So looking at our chat and our Q&A, I think we are good. We've managed to answer all of the questions. I'm typing just one last one coming from Freddie, so you'll get an answer from me in just a moment. But I certainly wanted to take a moment to thank all of you from across the country for joining us today for our update on tariffs and the exclusive discounts that you can benefit from CFIB through your membership to help you offset some of these impending tariffs that may be coming. So I'll just again thank my panelists. If there's any closing remarks from any of you, Ryan, I'll start with you.
Thank you all very much for taking the time. Again, for the latest information on tariffs, CFIB.ca/tariffs, and expecting the election call on the weekend. So on the homepage or CFIB.ca/election to follow along on all the campaign commitments starting on Monday.
Thank you, Ryan. On my screen, I have Paul next. Did you want to say a few closing remarks?
I just wanted to say thank you to all the members for all the wonderful feedback on the programs that we've launched, ideas for new partners, and I hope that you please do share those with your employees, friends, and family so that everyone gets to take advantage of them. So thank you.
Thank you again, Paul. And Michelle, saving the best for last.
Thanks, Stephanie, Paul, for letting us be part of your presentation today. But thank you, everyone, for attending this webinar. And any questions you have about U.S. tariffs, please send us an email. We're happy to try to get back to you and get you as much information as we can. Your input is so valuable, and the impacts to your business really, really help us in our communications to the federal government. So thank you again.
Okay, excellent. Well, this is just at the very end of our meeting, this webinar session. I'm seeing some great closing remarks from our attendees as well. So we are very thankful for you attending and joining us today. And again, for those of you who want to reference the webinar, we have included the link at the very top of the chat. So please feel free to look at it and give us a call if anything comes up as additional questions. So thank you so much, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.